KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Hey there, good morning, and thank you for joining us on GMSA at 6. We start off with the latest on the massive wildfire just outside of Fredericksburg in Gillespie County. And we've been tracking this throughout the night.
Absolutely, that's right. Multiple fire departments, including some from Bexar County, have rushed up I-10 to help fight the fire. And as of 10 last night, the latest update is that the fire has burned 8,600 acres. It does sit at 40% containment, which is an improvement because overnight the winds really decreased.
Yeah, that is a huge containment. And our Zaria Oates and photojournalist Ricardo Moreno are outside of Willow City Volunteer Fire and Rescue this morning as crews are expected to begin to double their efforts against this fire. Good morning, Zaria.
Good morning, y'all. Yeah, we just drove out here from the downtown area of Fredericksburg up 16 and the area of 1631. These are some of the areas that are most heavily impacted by these fires. As we drove up here this morning, we saw lots of trees on fire. They aren't trees that we were able to get video of and stop and stand in front of because crews are actively working to put these fires out. Last night, we spoke to Texas A&M Forest Service just before we left for the evening, and they told us that crews will be working overnight. They don't have an exact estimate of how many crews as people continue to come in from other cities and counties from nearby areas, but they did tell us that people would be working overnight. They also did tell us, make sure that you're not burning anything, you're not doing anything that could set something on fire, you're not doing anything that could produce heat. Obviously, they've got the warning. There's a fire ban right now. There's an extreme fire warning because obviously there are miles on fire. We know that there are thousands of acres on fire. It's about 13 and a half miles or so of this foresty area on fire. We do also know that at about 8 a.m., there will be a chopper up in the air that will continue to put water onto some of these fires to help try and put them out. Obviously, lots of efforts are going into putting these fires out here in the Hill Country, but a lot of people who are neighbors in this area, some are staying, some are leaving. It kind of depends on where you are. What we were told by the Texas A&M Forest Service is that if you're east of 16, you need to be staying media aware. You need to be staying aware with your local first responders so that you do know exactly what to look out for and when it is necessary to mandatorily evacuate from where you're living. There are some hotels in town. We were told that there are a few people who evacuated to those hotels, but if you weren't able to, there is a shelter in place. It's overnight. You can stay the night there. It's at Zion Lutheran Church out in Fredericksburg. If you're able to get out of your area and you need to evacuate, that is one place that you can go. We'll keep you updated here. Live in Fredericksburg, Zaria Oates, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Zaria, and I appreciate you being out there both last night and this morning. Zaria, as I believe, there are no mandatory evacuations, just voluntary evacuations, but here is where that fire is right now, about 11 miles north of Fredericksburg. And if you're waking up in San Antonio and you head outside, you may actually smell smoke from this fire. Now, San Antonio is not at a risk of being caught on fire by this fire. Again, it's well north of San Antonio, but the smoke is something that could be impacting a lot of people today, or at least the smell of smoke. So there's where the fire is north of Fredericksburg. I'm going to take you through time here. This is by about 12:45 this afternoon, and you can see that the smoke will likely have dissipated somewhat as the winds lighten and take more of a western trend than a northwestern trend. However, by this evening, we'll start to see the winds turn around to the northwest, and if there's any smoke, it would likely be making it toward the New Braunfels and Seguin area. And then overnight tonight, those winds will turn a little bit more to the north, and so we could see and smell some smoke in the Bulverde, Windcrest, Schertz, New Braunfels, Garden Ridge area as early as about 5 o'clock in the morning. Otherwise, we're going to have a warm day today, 80 degrees. But fire danger, even though it's less today, it will start to increase tomorrow. So coming up, I'm going to have those details in a few. Patty.
All right, thanks, Sarah. And if you or someone you know has had to evacuate due to this fire, here is where the shelter is set up. The shelter is at Zion Lutheran Church at 426 West Main Street in Fredericksburg. And of course, stay with us. We will continue to keep you updated on all of this going on. New this morning, we are trying to find out what caused a large police presence at a restaurant on the Riverwalk. Well, take a look. Dozens of police, EMS, and fire officials were seen in and around the Cafe Olé restaurant on the Riverwalk. That is located near East Commerce and Alamo Street. The restaurant was taped off, and we'll update you as soon as we learn more about what took place here on air, of course, and online. A downtown San Antonio fire just off of Mulberry and Flores ripped through an abandoned home yesterday. Thankfully, there were no injuries. Considering how strong those winds were, it made it hard for crews to put out that fire. Zaria Oates and photojournalist Mark Olds spoke with several people who live in the neighborhood about what they saw when that fire happened.
My son and I were inside the house eating our lunch. My son goes out the back patio door and the house is on fire, just like that.
I saw the house engulfed in flames and fire just spreading, so I called 911.
There was 2 houses on fire. One of them was for sale. That one got a little bit of damage, but one of them was completely gone. Wow. It was abandoned, apparently full of stuff.
We had a 2-story residential that had fire showing. Upon arrival, they called for additional units due to the wind conditions. We're having gusts up to 30, 40 miles per hour.
When the fire was so high, you could see some of the debris hitting some of the houses and getting on some of the yards.
Residents in the area are pretty concerned because obviously there's embers blowing everywhere and there's people watering down their lawns, trying to keep things wet. Just a really challenging scene.
I've been here since 2005. I've never seen something that bad.
There are no reports of injuries or occupants inside. The officers were telling everyone, get your pets, let's go. He picked up the dog and ran outside and brought him, and the neighbors' dogs are everywhere and our dogs are everywhere. Pets are our family, so it's just heartwarming to see that.
And this morning, NTSB officials will begin closely looking at that Austin crash site that killed 5 people, including a child and an infant. Investigator Kenny Bragg says they're going to be looking into the crash site itself, including other accidents that have happened there and records of the traffic flow. The investigation there will likely take 7 to 10 days, and a preliminary report for this accident is expected in about a month. Meanwhile, Solomon Araya, the man accused of causing the crash, faces multiple charges, including intoxication, manslaughter. He is being held in the Travis County Jail. And in your morning headlines, the Defense Department is sending a Navy destroyer to the southern border to help curb illegal immigration. The USS Gravely left Yorktown, Virginia on Saturday and is heading south. Now, the destroyer helped respond to the Red Sea's crisis during a multi-month deployment last year. Specialized members of the U.S. Coast Guard will be aboard the destroyer, and they have experience in a number of areas that include counterterrorism and homeland security. And relief has finally arrived as SpaceX's Crew 10 has arrived at the International Space Station to replace overdue astronauts Sunny Williams and Butch Wilmore. The pair will spend a few days training the new members of the ISS crew before leaving the station aboard the SpaceX module. Now, the pair were originally going to spend a week on that station, but ended up sticking up there after NASA deemed the Boeing Starliner they were supposed to ride home unfit for a manned return. We want to say good morning to those watching out there in comfort. The time right now, 6:09, 48 degrees. Still ahead tonight, we are learning who will be on those tournament brackets this March, what you need to know for Selection Sunday in just a bit. And San Antonio is looking green ahead of St. Patrick's Day. We'll take a look at the early festivities next.
A look outside with live cam. If you're smelling smoke, it is from that crabapple fire north of Fredericksburg. A lot of people waking up this morning smelling that smoke. Fire danger, thankfully, down quite a bit today, but it does return in the week ahead, along with chilly mornings. Details coming up.
Welcome back. The San Antonio River now a bright shade of green. Check it out. This is all ahead of St. Patrick's Day, which is tomorrow. And the sea of green on the Riverwalk isn't just on the water. Folks brought out all of their green gear out to get an early start on celebrating their Irish heritage. Devin Karp was there for the festivities.
We have everything from the kilt hose, we got the kilt pin here, the sporran, which is like a small bag that contains all our items, vests, collared shirt, tie.
We're from a small town, so this is a lot bigger for us.
Got any advice for anyone partying it up in San Antonio?
Hydrate and rotate.
Hey, there you go.
All right, and last night was also the annual St. Patrick's Day River Parade along the Riverwalk. Our own Garrett Berger getting to join in on the fun on one of the floats with the San Antonio Gaelic Athletic Association. You can see them having fun with the crowd, even hitting some wiffle balls to the kids along the Riverwalk. And I heard that those are soft wiffle balls, by the way, so nobody was hurt.
Well, that is good. Now, for St. Patrick's Day Monday, tomorrow, it's going to be warm and sunny. And today it'll be pleasant and sunny, but I do have to mention, if you're in San Antonio, you step outside, you smell smoke.
I came in wondering, and
yes.
I'm glad you mentioned it to
It's from that crabapple fire, which again, over 8,600 acres have been burned north of Fredericksburg, so a devastating fire for folks in northern Gillespie County. Thankfully, overnight, firefighters have been able to contain the fire to 40% contained. Just before midnight, it was still 0% contained. So one of the reasons why firefighters have been able to contain that fire is because the winds have started to subside a little bit. And today is going to be much less windy than yesterday. But I want to show you the forecast wind gusts. Around San Antonio, again, you could be smelling that smoke from that fire because overnight winds shifted to the north. And you can see that by 10 o'clock, we are still going to get a few wind gusts of up to 20-25 miles per hour from the north. Now, as we head into the later part of the day today, winds will turn to the west and become less. We'll only see a few gusts of up to 20 miles per hour. Then overnight, we're going to see winds subside, which again is good news for those firefighters. They could fight that fire a little bit better. But by tomorrow, we're going to see our winds pick up from the southeast. So smoke will blow away from San Antonio, but with winds picking up, again, we really hope that a lot of the firefighters can get that fire as contained as possible today because it'll become windy again tomorrow with wind gusts of up to 30 miles per hour. So throughout the day today, again, you could smell some smoke. For those who have asthma and respiratory issues, the air quality could become unhealthy for you. So I would just suggest, as needed, stay inside as much as possible. For those of us who do not have respiratory illnesses, generally the air quality should be okay. But once again, this upcoming week is going to be a week where we're going to be on the lookout for fire danger, particularly Tuesday and Wednesday when we see wind gusts of up to 35 miles per hour, all because of a cool front that's going to be moving through San Antonio. So once again, there are so many things that we can do to help prevent grass fires from developing and spreading, and a big one is disposing of cigarettes properly. Let's go ahead and take a look outside right now. It's chilly this morning in San Antonio. It's 48 degrees, feels like 45 because we have those winds from the north at about 10 miles per hour. It's 41 in Boerne, 40 in Los Maples, 46 in Castroville, 49 in Seguin, and 49 in Nixon Smiley. So you do need a light jacket early this morning, but it is going to warm up nicely today. By noon, it'll be 74. Again, winds not as strong as they were yesterday. Yesterday, we were seeing wind gusts of up to 45 miles per hour. Today, a high temperature of 80 with winds from the west-northwest, more so at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. It'll be warmer to the southwest, 85 in Cotulla, only in the 70s in the hill country, 74 in Rock Springs, 80 in New Braunfels, and 79 in Gonzales. And looking at your 7-day forecast, again, tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day, 82 for the high after a chilly start. Then by Tuesday, we warm up to 86, but a cold front will move through Tuesday into Wednesday. That's why we see our temperatures dip back down into the 70s with mornings chilly in the 40s for next week. So some kids are back to school, some kids are on spring break, but if your kids are back to school, make sure they have a jacket for the bus stop. And then coming up, Patty, I'm going to have a zoomed in neighborhood view of where the smoke will be potentially densest today from that crabapple fire.
All right, all good information. Thank you so much, Sarah. Happy Sunday to our friends out there in Lavernia. The time right now is 6:17 and it is 48 degrees out there. Get ready to fill out those brackets for the NCAA tournaments. How you can find out who's taking on who this March. Next.
Bradley fires. And Houston, the Cougars are champions here in the Big 12.
Yep, you heard it. The Houston Cougars won the Big 12 Conference Tournament Championship, beating the Arizona Wildcats 72-64. Milos Uzan had a career-high 25 points for Houston, the junior guard helping his guys to another big victory. And now the team awaits Selection Sunday to see where they and dozens of other teams from across the country will land on the NCAA men and women's basketball tournament brackets. The Rock at La Cantera is holding a watch party for the Selection Day. It is happening from 4 to 7:30 tonight. The event is free and open to the public, and KSAT will have a full coverage of Selection Sunday and, of course, the games when they happen. It is all leading up to the Final Four happening right here in San Antonio this April. And the San Antonio Local Organizing Committee is holding a watch party as the teams on the road to San Antonio are announced. One of the big events is the Big March Madness Music Festival presented by AT&T, Capital One, and Coca-Cola. Pitbull, Chris Stapleton, and Jelly Roll will perform. The festival will happen at the Tower Park at Hemisphere. It runs Friday, April 4th through Sunday, the April 6th, and the best part of it all, it is free. Time right now, 6:22, 48 degrees out there. And oak pollen isn't the only thing blooming this spring. Learn how you can help local shelters during this year's kitten season next. Time right now, 6:25. Kitten season is almost here, and Animal Control Services needs your help to care for them. In the warmer months, felines tend to give birth to their litters, and that leads to an influx of kittens ending up in local shelters. In 2023, ACS was able to place 34 kittens in foster homes. That went up to 93 in 2024. So far, between October 1st to March 14th of this year, that number is 139 placements. Now, those who are interested in volunteering as foster families would take a short training class. You can foster them for a couple of weeks or longer. All you need is time and love.
Right now is a crucial time for us because this is when we start getting these little guys that really need foster. These little ones here, they require a 24-hour care. So we don't have staff here that's to be able to do that 24 hours a day, especially for the number that we have coming in.
Okay, if kittens are not your thing, you can also foster an older cat or dog as well. Head to KSAT.com to learn how to sign up to be a volunteer. Time right now, 6:27, 48 degrees out there, still ahead. Firefighters continue the work of containing a massive wildfire in Gillespie County. Zaria Oates has a positive update on their progress next. And it's the biggest party in San Antonio, which means some folks will try to take advantage of you. We'll watch out for Fiesta frauds next. Time right now is 6:30. We are continuing to follow the latest developments of the Crab Apple Fire just northeast of Fredericksburg.
That's right. Bexar County Fire, Burning Fire, and other area crews have rushed up to help contain this wildfire. And at last check, it has burned over 8,600 acres. The good news is overnight they were able to get 40% contained.
And KSAT Zaria Oates is out near Willow City Volunteer Fire and Rescue, along with our photojournalist Ricardo Moreno. Zaria, aerial firefighting is going to get started this morning.
Yeah, good morning. They have really been working to fight these fires overnight. It's been a long journey out here. We're out in Willow City right now outside of their volunteer fire department. We can see behind us, obviously, there's a fire ban in effect right now. There's an extreme danger. There's an ongoing fire that's spread about 13 or so miles into the woods here when we were driving up. We mentioned earlier that the trees were burning. We also know that some of the side roads, there's some grass on the sides of the roads. All of that is pretty much ash for about a mile or so down a lot of these farm to market roads that are near and east of Highway 16. Now, these crews have been out here working. There are several crews from neighboring cities and counties working to combat these fires. Yesterday, there were lots of winds working against the firefighters, making this very difficult to contain. And fire crews were making sure that we all, as media and as people watching, people who haven't left their homes, stay really far back away from these fires because the winds were honestly pretty unpredictable because they were so strong, they were so heavy, and this is a very densely populated area with trees and lots of dry grass in the area. There are also lots of homes scattered throughout this area, so a lot of people did evacuate their homes. There are shelters in place. Zion Lutheran Church is one of those shelters. It's out in Fredericksburg, which is just a little bit south of where we are right now in Willow City. Now, if you are in the area, there's not quite a mandatory evacuation for everyone yet, but if you are in the area east of Highway 16, make sure that you are monitoring media and you are monitoring your local first responders pages and staying up to date with the information that they have for everyone so that you are staying as safe as possible and you're ready to go should fires get worse. But again, they have contained 40%, which is a lot more than that 0% containment we were sitting at for most of the day yesterday. Yesterday, we were here for many, many hours and we've been monitoring this overnight. So 0% containment up until the middle of the night last night, and we woke up this morning and it was at about 40%. So that's fantastic. But we're expecting a little bit of wind, but hopefully not as much today. Sarah, can you tell us just a little bit about that?
Yeah, thank you, Zaria. Great reporting. And thankfully, again, the winds are going to be less today. So let's go ahead and take a look at where the smoke will head. Now, if you're waking up in San Antonio, you go outside, you can probably smell this smoke. It isn't from a backyard barbecue. It's from this unfortunate, devastating fire in northern Gillespie County. Now, as we look ahead in the future, the winds today are going to turn a little bit more to the west and be a little lighter by about lunch. So most of the smoke plume should head toward Austin, but we're still going to smell that smoke in areas today. Then as we head into the afternoon hours and evening hours, the winds are going to turn to the northwest. So areas like Canyon Lake, even New Braunfels could see that denser smoke plume overhead. Again, we're still going to smell the smoke throughout the area, but this is where it will be most concentrated. Then by late tonight, as we head into the overnight hours, the winds will relax, but the smoke will still be able to travel south. So neighborhoods closer to San Antonio, Kirby, Windcrest, Schertz, New Braunfels, Canyon Lake might experience slightly denser smoke in the overnight hours as well. And then as we head into early Monday morning, we're talking pre-dawn, that could move over toward the Hondo area. Then by later tomorrow, we are expecting the winds to turn around to the south, and so the smoke plume and any smoke will likely head north away from San Antonio throughout the day tomorrow. Now, fire risk today is still elevated west of San Antonio. So if you live out near Rock Springs, Del Rio, Eagle Pass, that's where fire danger is the highest today, although fire danger has come down quite a bit because, again, the winds are only going to be from the northwest at 10 to 15 rather than from the west at 30 to 40 like they were yesterday. Otherwise, it's going to be a pleasant day, 80 degrees for the high and clear skies. In the week ahead and in the forecast ahead, unfortunately, our fire risk does return, and unfortunately, we still have no rain in the forecast, but we do have some chilly mornings thanks to a cold front. Details in the forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Sarah. And if you or someone you know has had to evacuate due to this fire, here is where the shelter is set up for you. The shelter is at Zion Lutheran Church at 426 West Main Street in Fredericksburg. By the way, yesterday, community donated tons of water and food, and at this time, firefighters are saying they don't need any more donations. Now to a story that's been gaining traction online. A Comal County man has filed a lawsuit against the city of New Braunfels and 3 police officers, claiming they violated his civil rights during a traffic stop that happened in 2023. Robert Nagel alleges that his rights were violated when he was unlawfully arrested after exercising his right to remain silent. It started when Nagel was pulled over on I-35 Officer Palacios, one of the defendants in the lawsuit, questioned Nagel about his vehicle registration, which didn't show up in the system. Nagel claims the officer's confrontational approach led to his arrest. He was charged with displaying a fictitious vehicle registration and unlawful carry of a firearm, but those charges were dropped 2 years later. He is now seeking $500,000 in damages and wants the officers to admit they violated his rights. The city of New Braunfels has not commented on the pending litigation. The San Antonio Food Bank is getting ready to help more people even as it loses money. The food bank CEO says the nonprofit has lost millions in funding, and the thing is, it's expected to provide food for more people since federal workers have now been laid off.
I think people are worried, and that fear is wanting to seek comfort, and I think they're looking to the food bank to see, hey, can I get some help?
And the answer is yes, you can. The food bank is ready to help families with food and other public benefits. If you or anyone you know needs help, you can visit the San Antonio Food Bank's website or call them at 210-431-8326. Happening tomorrow, South San ISD Board of Education is set to formally hire its newest superintendent. On the agenda for tomorrow, the board will talk about the contract for Dr. Saul Hinojosa. The 5-year contract would end in 2030. The annual base salary for him will be $280,000. Now, in February of this year, the Texas Education Agency stepped in to place a selected board and new superintendent to stabilize a district afflicted by years of political dysfunction. The meeting is tomorrow afternoon at 6 p.m. We want to say good morning to our friends watching out there in New Braunfels and Green. Your time right now is 6:38, 48 degrees. Still ahead on GMSA, South Texas bats population were almost war heroes. Yep, you heard it right. Justin Horn tells us this bizarre true story in just a bit. And tickets on sale for the Party with a Purpose. We'll tell you why you should be careful when buying your tickets next.
And a look outside of the live cam. Again, if you're smelling smoke, it's from that fire that we've been covering out near Fredericksburg. Details on fire danger, which will increase this week, and chilly warnings coming up.
All right, time right now, 6:42. A quick reminder, you can buy tickets for the Battle of the Flowers and Flambeau Parade right now. And this year's Battle of the Flowers Parade is scheduled for Friday, May 2nd, and Flambeau is the next night, Saturday, May 3rd. It's going to come up quick, Sarah. To buy tickets, scan the QR code right there on your screen. If you cannot make it to the parade, you can watch them in English and Spanish right here on KSAT 12. We're going to be streaming them too on KSAT.com and the KSAT Plus app. And we want to remind you, tickets are only available from the official website. That is because around this time, scammers come out of the woodwork with fake ticket offers. Our John Paul Barajas met with organizers of the Battle of the Flowers Parade who are warning people of scammers.
The Fiesta festivities and fun are just around the corner, and today Fiesta Flambeau and Battle of Flower Parade tickets officially went on sale.
Viva Fiesta!
Unfortunately, some may have purchased or thought they purchased tickets already.
There's a lot of excitement as the Fiesta season approaches. Unfortunately, people like to try and take advantage of that. You came across something before your tickets even went on sale.
We came across multiple websites that were claiming to be selling bleacher seats to this year's parade.
Battle of Flowers Vice President of Parade Caroline Kane explains the Battle of Flowers website is the only one who officially sells bleacher seat tickets along the route.
And when we looked into it some more, we realized that they were selling bleacher seats to parade sections from our old parade route back when we were on Broadway.
This year's Battle of Flowers route starts at East Locust Street in North Main and ends at West Martin Street and Santa Rosa Street.
Go Fiesta!
Kane adds another giveaway when spotting a fake is the prices. She states their tickets only go up to $30. She saw fakes going as high as $50.
It was sad. The whole celebration is the Party with a Purpose, to give back. And for people to spend their hard-earned money to go to an event and realize that they've been scammed and they don't have a seated parade, that breaks our hearts.
Kane tells us now that Battle of Flower tickets are on sale, it is possible that resellers could have them available for purchase, but says the safest way to buy tickets is by going to the Fiesta Commission website. We'll have that link on KSAT.com. John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
All right, Sarah, do you have your shoes ready for that?
For Fiesta,
Show me your
absolutely. Very excited about Fiesta. It's going to be a fun time. Now, it's happening in May this year, so
later.
More chances that it'll be warm than cold.
Humid. I'm already imagining it.
But we'll wait and see. Of course, I do want to turn our attention to if you're waking up in San Antonio or around the metro area and you're smelling smoke, there is a reason for that. It is the Crab Apple Fire, which is north of Fredericksburg. Now, the good news is overnight, firefighters were able to contain this fire somewhat. It's over 8,600 acres of land has been burned. Our Zaria Oates is reporting that that's more than 13 miles. And thankfully, though, firefighters have been able to get 40% contained. Now, that may not sound like a lot, but it was at 0% containment for much of yesterday. Now, throughout the day today, because winds will be from the west-northwest, we could smell some smoke in San Antonio, and especially the closer to the fire that you get areas like Kerrville, New Braunfels. Winds today, though, thankfully will be less than they were yesterday. Yesterday, we were seeing gusts of up to 40, 45 miles per hour. Today, as we advance through the day, winds will be from the northwest at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. And then in the evening hours, winds will relax quite a bit. So today, firefighters will hopefully be able to get more containment on that fire. Tomorrow, winds turn around to the southeast, and so any smoke associated with that fire would be blown to the north tomorrow. So less smoke in the air tomorrow than there will be today, but it will be breezier tomorrow with gusts up to 30 miles per hour possible. Now, throughout the day today, again, there will be some smoke in the air. And so if you have a respiratory illness or your children have asthma, just know that the air quality may become unhealthy for those who are sensitive to it. However, for the rest of us, you'll just really notice that smoky smell at times in the air. Now, peak wind gusts do pick up tomorrow up to about 30 miles per hour, but fire danger will become more prevalent Tuesday and Wednesday when we have wind gusts of up to 35 miles per hour Tuesday and Wednesday. So just a reminder, no campfires or burn piles. Avoid using tools that create sparks. Dispose of cigarettes properly. Do not park your vehicles on grass. Those are ways that we can help prevent the creation and spreading of grass fires. 48 degrees outside right now. It's kind of chilly in San Antonio. You might want the jacket. It's chillier up north and near Kerrville, where it's 35 degrees this morning. 48 in New Braunfels, 44 in Tarpley, 49 in Poteet, 52 in Floresville, and 49 in Seguin. As we look at your KSAT 12-hour forecast, sunny skies all day long for us, allowing us to warm up to 74 around noon. And in the afternoon, we'll get up to 80 degrees for the high. Again, winds from the west-northwest, not as breezy as they were yesterday at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. High temperatures in the 70s up in the hill country, 74 in Rock Springs. Fredericksburg, we're thinking about you with that fire north of Fredericksburg, 76 for the high temperature, 85 in Cotulla, 82 in Beeville, 82 in Del Rio. As we take a look at your 7-day forecast, tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day. It'll be a chilly start to the day, 82 degrees. Some kids are going back to school this week. Make sure the kids have the jackets at the bus stop this week because mornings will generally be in the 40s, especially after that front moves through Tuesday into Wednesday. Keeping fire danger high Tuesday and Wednesday, but allowing temperatures to dip back down into the 70s.
And just a reminder of how dangerous the wind is, because we still have some wind coming up in this week. I was outside yesterday. I have a lot of trees, and those trees were just moving so strong and creaking. It can be very dangerous for those limbs to fall.
Absolutely. And thank goodness the wind is not going to be as strong this week as it was yesterday. Yesterday, wow, it was a very windy day.
All right, thanks, Sarah. We want to say good morning to our friends out there in San Antonio. Time right now, 6:49, 48 degrees. Up next, South Texas is all about the military, but so is our wildlife. Learn how local bats almost ended up serving in World War II. Next. Time right now, 6:52. Now to some fascinating history. Bats are common seen around our parts, right? We know them, we appreciate them, but you may have even more appreciation for these bug-eating neighbors after hearing this story. Did you know that bats were once enlisted to help us win a war? Justin Horn tells us how these creatures almost became unlikely war heroes.
Mexican free-tailed bats are synonymous with South Texas. We find them underneath our freeways, we find them in our caves, and there's even a brewery named after them. But honestly, we should be raising a toast to these guys because they helped us fight a war. Almost. These Mexican free-tailed bats, which we do cherish now, they in theory could have helped us win World War II, right?
They could have been an integral part of winning World War II.
How, you ask? Well, by strapping an incendiary device to them and dropping them out of a plane over Japan.
So there was a little kind of an alligator clip that they would just put onto their fur. You can kind of see the size of a Mexican free-tailed bat. It's really a small animal.
Have I piqued your attention yet? Paul Barwick and Dean Sproul blew my mind explaining it to me. They run the Kendall County Historic Jail Museum in Bernie, and according to them, they have the only exhibit dedicated to what is known as the Bat Bomb in the country.
After the attack on Pearl Harbor, the U.S. government was inundated with ideas for weapons. And this particular weapon got to Franklin Roosevelt's desk because Doc Adams was actually a friend of Eleanor Roosevelt's.
He's the guy that came up with the idea.
Doc Adams had seen had seen the Mexican free-tail and knew that there were millions and millions of them, and didn't cost anything. So his idea was to take the bats, and actually the Mexican free-tail can carry up to 2.5 times its own weight because they'll carry their babies. So he had this idea to put a charge on them, pack them in this bomb, and then close it up.
Over 1,000 of them went into each bomb, with bats collected here locally and near Carlsbad, New Mexico. The bats were chilled to fall asleep. When the bomb would drop, they'd come to life.
And as they woke up and flew off, there was a hair trigger on a string that would set it for 30 minutes on the timer. And so the idea was, once they flew off, because bats in the daytime would look for darkness, and everything in Japan was paper and wood, so their idea was to fly up under it and then ignite.
The bomb was tested, and as crazy as it sounds, the idea had momentum.
I mean, how close did it get to being deployed?
Well, spending $2 million, I think they were pretty serious, and they had a lot of people working on it.
Do you think it would have worked had they actually deployed it?
I think so. They did, accidentally burned down the barracks at the Carlsbad Air Base.
True story. But in the end, the atomic bomb came along and the project was abandoned, placing it in the annals of weird military history. But now, thanks to this exhibit in the Kendall County Historic Jail Museum in Bernie, the free-tailed bats are finally receiving the acknowledgement they deserve. Justin Horn, KSAT 12 News.
That was really cool and interesting, right? Okay, time right now is 6:55, 48 degrees out there. Our last look at your forecast next. Listen up, Broadway in San Antonio at the Majestic Theater has released their 2025-2026 lineup of shows, promising a mix of classic musicals and new award-winning shows. Starting the season off will be the musical Kimberly Akimbo in September. Then in October, you can catch a performance of the 2024 Tony Award-winning musical adaptation of The Outsiders. In November, we'll feature Disney's Beauty and the Beast, and then finishing off the year will be Elf, one of my favorites. You can see the full 2025-26 lineup on KSAT.com, but tickets are not on sale yet.
We are continuing to keep an eye on the crabapple fire north of Fredericksburg. Over 8,600 acres burned, but thankfully it's been 40% contained overnight. But you will potentially smell smoke in the air, so the air quality will be unhealthy for those who have respiratory illnesses, asthma, those kinds of things. Otherwise, it's going to be a nice day near 80 degrees. Looking ahead to the week, fire danger returns Tuesday and Wednesday because of a cool front, which brings us chilly mornings.
All right. Thanks so much, Tara. Thanks for watching us. And stay with us. We'll be back in an hour with an update on that fire.